The gubernatorial records of previously served governors are stored at the Secretary of State here in California. And the Secretary of State has numerous programs that are administered by her office. And that includes the Gubernatorial Records Program. So the Secretary of State, SOS, maintains the governor's chaptered bill files from 1943 to 2018. As explained by the Secretary of State, the governor's office maintains files for each legislative bill that have been signed into law, that is, they're chaptered, or those that have been vetoed. And these files from the governor's office typically contain analyses prepared by the Legislative Council, the Attorney General, other constitutional officers, state agency, as well as the governor's staff. Also available is correspondence from the bill's author, as well as affected organizations and individuals. And vetoed bill files include the text of the governor's veto message. As additionally explained by the Secretary of State, the California State Archives holds over 10,000 cubic feet of records from the governor's office, and the types of records include executive clemency files, pardons, proclamations, executive orders, speeches, press releases, enrolled bill files. Also, former Governor Earl Warren and former Governor Goodwin Knight donated additional records to the state archives that are available to researchers. The California Government Code in section 6268 sets forth relevant requirements related to the governor's office records. And the provisions added gubernatorial records to the California Public Records Act. And so under section 6268 of the Government Code, all administrations following former Governor George Deukmejian are required to transfer all gubernatorial records to the California State Archives, which is housed at the Secretary of State's office. As a result, as I mentioned previously, the enrolled bill files and press releases and speech files are open to the public as soon as the governor leaves office. And the writings related to applications for clemency or extradition are available for research after the cases have been closed for a period of at least 25 years. Now, a governor may restrict other records for up to 50 years, or the death of the governor, whichever comes later. Prior to the 1988 legislation, California's governors were required to preserve only a small handful of records that were considered to be public, although most governors did deposit their records with the state archives. Finally, the Secretary of State notes that California's governors from 1959 to 1991 chose to donate the remainder of those records to certain institutions. So Governor Edmund Pat Brown donated his remaining records to the Bancroft Library at the University of California at Berkeley. Ronald Reagan donated his to the Hoover Institution at Stanford University, but many of them have been transferred to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. Governor Jerry Brown donated remaining documents to the University of Southern California, USC. And former Governor George Deukmejian donated his documents to the Hoover Institute at Stanford University, and then moved many of them to the California State University at Long Beach to their university library.